Welcome back to Lucore Automotive Services. Today I'm working on a 1990 GM truck. This was I think the third year for this body style. I believe this body style came out in '88. Pretty classic body. Good looking trucks. They're actually going up in value like mad right now because people can still buy them kind of cheap in comparison to everything else. And parts are readily available for these trucks everywhere. So pretty cool truck. This one came to us for a whole bunch of work. We're getting to the end of that session and it's time for me to work on the steering column because it's loose and sloppy and it basically needs to be fixed. I thought I would let you guys watch as I tear this column down to resolve the steering column. It's a pretty common issue that happens on these. I forget who makes these columns, but I remember at the dealer I was fixing one of these columns probably one a week 20 years ago. But it is what it is. It's a unique setup. It requires some special tools, and I just happen to have all those in my toolbox from 20 years ago. So if you guys want to see what I do with the steering column, stick around. It should be educational if it's not entertaining. Let's get you guys over here where you can see what I'm doing. Let there be light. Yeah, it'll probably work. You guys are going to look at me over my shoulder. Let's see. That's not great. So this is a pretty standard setup. The horn pad comes off most of the time. Got two tabs up here that clip in. This guy comes out. There are two screws that fasten in from the bottom. I already had those out. Then you take off this little retainer. Boy, it's really raining. This little guy, only thing I can figure is in case the nut comes loose, this keeps the nut from falling off. Then you just have a loose, steering wheel. Apparently that was a common thing. So, pull off our nut behind the wheel. Gravity gets me every time. Well, at least the rain dropping on the metal roof will cover up the noise of our radios playing in the background. Steering wheel removal tool. Oh, somebody McGilla Gorilla that one on there. Ooh. Yeah, this truck's just getting broken in with 177,000 miles on it. Walmart Auto Care Center. Next service suggested 8/13/2019. 169,000 miles. Suggested at 169. It's got 177 on it now. Hopefully somebody's changed it before that. This is our lock plate. This is the guy that makes your steering wheel lock. So we have a lock plate removal tool. Here like so. I only need my picks. Grab those. The snap ring can be a bit of a bugger to get off, but if you get under it, work it up. I push it up onto the tool, and then it can just sit there while I do my work. Remove my tool. least I get to sit in a decent seat while I do this job. So the lock plate comes off. That guy's been glued. This is your steering wheel. Sorry, your turn signal cancel cam. It's broken and busted, so we'll see if we can find another one of these. Ooh, that is tight. Why is that so tight? Might need to get a new turn signal switch for this guy. Take Mr. Felipe out of here. This is a bracket that connects into this guy. It's just a pin and a rod. So now we can pull our turn signal switch loose, which is 3 screws.
It's such a cute little thing. Do you have to have bumpers on this car?
Technically, yes.
Will anybody care?
Johnny Law, maybe.
I mean, Johnny Law even knows what this is. Probably not.
If Johnny Law wants to bust my balls, then I can get citations for it, yes.
What's that ticket cost?
I don't know. But it does look really good without a front. It looks really good without a front bumper. There's no denying that. So I am going to have to pull my lower shroud off, because if I remember right, I'm going to have to pull my ignition switch lock rod apart. This is our tab for the key in the ignition buzzer. It just pops out, usually without breaking. Sometimes it does. Looks like it'll be alright. Somebody's had that out before. Same bugger did all up. Now we have our Torx bits. Oh, this has the old high beam, low beam guy in it too. It's loose. Alright, let's grab our Torx. I recall I need to pull off my lower shroud, so I'll do that real quick. Hang tight.
Road trip! Off to Vickers Transmissions. It is Tuesday. You just saw Rich pull the transmissions out on Saturday, and we didn't work on Monday, so there you go, on the road. And it is a beautiful day here in Ohio. It's gray and rainy and cloudy and terrible. Oddly, like almost 60 degrees for a January day. That's a little weird, but whatever. So I've got a 2.5-hour drive from here in Columbus to Vickers Brothers Performance Transmissions in Alliance, Ohio. So 2.5 hours that away, and we'll have a chat with Dion when we get there. There's not going to be a lot of exciting stuff to show you. It looks a lot like this. So we'll just, skip that part, shall we? Well, see, that wasn't that bad. 2.5 hours went by just like that, right? At least for you. It's still a beautiful day here. At least it stopped raining, but it's still gray and terrible outside. But hey, welcome to Vickers Performance Transmissions in Alliance, Ohio. Pretty much the only guys that we trust for performance transmission building. Yeah, so woof. Woof, woof. That means welcome. All right, let me get out of here, get these transmissions unloaded, talk to Dion about what we got going on. Be right back. There they are. Volvo work truck doing its job.
We thought you had an oil burn. No.
Unloaded, Kerry, there you go. Your transmission is in good hands. We'll see as soon as Dion gets these things opened up and cleaned out. We'll see exactly how badly you cooked that thing. Mine obviously was not nearly as bad as Kerry's is, so hopefully my bill will also be less than Kerry's is. But huge thanks to Dion, and we'll update you guys on that process as it goes. He is definitely a busy man. He has a lot of work to do, and there's a reason for that. Obviously, we just drove 2.5 hours one way to bring him a transmission because we trust Dion, and a lot of really good quality racers also trust Dion, and he's shipping transmissions now all across the country because people trust him and their transmissions. So again, there's a reason we're here. So it is now gray-er and terrible-er and starting to rain again, but I got a 2.5 hour drive home, so yeah, I'm not going to take you along for that, but yeah, that's what happens. I'm gonna drive some more. Yay.
Alright. So I got some of my stuff loose underneath. Gives me a little more room to work. T20 to pull my lock cylinder. It's been a long time since I've done one of these. And it's a T30 for these other three, which I don't think I have. I have a T27, which should work. My T30 is busted. I need to get it replaced by the tool guy. These aren't real tight, so the 27 will get it done. Make it happen, so to speak. Sometimes the right tool is the tool that gets the job done. That's a little better for all parties involved. Come out. You are fighting me. There we go. Sometimes these bolts will actually come loose, and then the aluminum housing under it gets all messed up. But when I put this all back together, I'll use Loctite to help keep things together. So this guy comes out, which gains us access to a couple guys. Now that's been broken previously, so we're going to slide him off. Hopefully not break him more. Maybe we're just going to leave him there because he's not cooperating. Normally these tilt levers just come out, but this one's never been out. Let's see if I can get in there with a little mini torch. They used the good Loctite on that one back in the day. I'm going to try to make some progress here without getting too crazy. I need to pull that fella out, which can be done with a quarter drive usually. I actually have a socket that'll fit that. This little guy is a little pivot pin press. Pulls my pivot pin out. Hold that before you break it. Don't break the tool, Rich. Makes for a bad day. Pivot pin. Pull the other pivot pin out. You can find these tools on eBay from time to time. I have one that I broke because I misused my tool. And then I couldn't find my tool that I replaced that one with. So I bought another one. So I actually have a spare one of these now. I bought the spare like a year ago because I was doing this exact job, but it's been a while since I did that. It's probably been at least a year. Pull our other pivot pin. Now this is the one where all the magic happens because you have a rack right here that connects into the into the lower rod, and it's kind of an adventure to get it apart. But it comes apart just fine. The trick is getting all this stuff put back together correctly. I'm done with that guy. Exposes our bolts. That's the prize. Those are inverted torques. I take you out of there. I can get you all the way off. And out of my way. Get there. Oh my God, it's never gonna go back together and work again. What'd you do? See, this guy here is what's loose. Grab my inverted torques, which may or may not be the one I'm missing. That's our culprit. There's 4 of these guys down in there. So I'm going to get some Loctite. I'm going to take all of these out, put some Loctite on them, put them back together, and then it's all reassembly from there. Now I will fully admit that this is one of those jobs that if I did not have the tools to do this job, I would not do this job. The only reason I do this job is because I've done this job 100 times or more, and I've already invested in all the tools to do it, so I think that pivot pin tool's $60 just in itself. Gravity. Mr. Loctite. Don't bend your shaft too far, Rich. It'll come apart. You can actually disassemble these. They go to 90 degrees and then they disassemble. You can actually pull this shaft out and get it out of your way, but there's no real need to do that. I'm a less is more kind of guy, so at least I try to be. A lot of times that creates problems for me more than anything else, but it is what it is. Alright, let's get the bottom 2 out, and then we will tighten them down. Alright, now it's time for reassembly. Is that recording? Oh, it is. Good. So, this grease is kind of old. I'm going to put a dab of grease down on here. There's a bearing race right here, and a bearing race on top, and I'm going to put a little grease on those guys just to make sure they're happy. Excuse me. Alright, so now it's time to put this puzzle back together. never gonna work again. Hold my tongue the right way and get it in the groove. And I gotta get that rack lined up correctly or I'll be taking it apart again. I think that's why I always took the ignition switch out, was because it made it easier to put that back together. And it's a lot easier with this plastic piece out of the way. It's gonna break on me though. I don't want to break it. Don't want to. There's what I was looking for. Engaged correctly. Reinstall my pivot pins. Now you have to drive those back in. I just use a hammer and a punch. I'm not going to do that yet because I want to make sure my mechanism works. Ignition switch works. Look at that. Park. Starts. Shuts off. Alright, so our rack and our ignition actuator rod are connected correctly. So I put my pivot pins back in. And then we'll put our upper column housing on. I can go ahead and put my air, gross. Ring on. Sorry, I got it tight in here today.
Suck it in.
My bad, suck it in, brother. This cruise lever actually pops out of here. I prefer to just leave them intact. These lines break often. Cause the cruise to stop working, among other problems. So we're going to slide this guy back into its happy home. Oh, no, we're not. We're going to put our tilt spring on first. Oh, and that guy needs to go into. So I'm trying to talk and I'm not thinking about my work. It makes me make mistakes. That's all right. Race, spring retainer, spring. Need to put my pins in. Let's do that. This guy. In this little pocket right there. Gravity. That guy. Just put a little grease on it. It'll stay in there. Grease, the magic gravity defier. Where'd my rod go? Hiding from me. There it is. Have to go in your home right there. This guy has to be in here where it needs to be. It's got to fit the right way. This guy, you put the grease on here. Red and tacky. And he goes in here. Then it goes together. The fourth and final time, hopefully. Oh, now my rod's off my pin. Oh. Maybe it'll be the fifth time's the charm. Before I forget one more time, let's put that guy in there. Put it all together and take it back apart because you forgot to do something. It does happen. Let's see if we get this to go on correctly this time. Doesn't look like it's at the right angle because I have it on upside down. Works better when you put them in the right way. No, that's better. Look at that, 12th time's a charm. You can already see the column's tighter than it was when we started. I can start putting tools away. I am on the mend. That guy goes there. I guess it's not as bad as I thought it was. Ah, it works. These columns were used for many years in many different manufacturers. I think Chrysler used these columns, GM used these columns, Jeep, AMC used these columns. So, pretty wide range of vehicles that these were installed in. All right, lock cylinder. It only goes in one way. Hey, it works. It works in all positions. Take it. My brights work. My tilt works. So we have a screw to lock our lock cylinder in. We'll put him back in. Lock cylinder has to be slightly out for that guy. Our horn insanity buzzer piece. So those guys are in. Now it's time to put our turn signal back in. Unfortunately, I don't believe I have cancel cam here. So, actually it's missing the copper band anyway for the horn, excuse me, for the horn pass through. We need a cancel cam. Well, that's easy enough to change after the fact. Let's go ahead and put this guy back together. Sometimes these little metal clips here will break, and it'll make the turn signal not cancel. You can actually get these little metal clips separate from the switch. So these switches really don't go bad that often. Oh, crap. Lost my spring. Plunger. And my screw. screwed on that one. Doesn't have to be super tight, just snug. A lot of guys over tighten this stuff way too often. Gonna put our turn signal lever on. Sorry there's only one angle for this because there's really no other place to put you guys for this bit. No, it's not very exciting, but I bet there's a lot of people that go out and buy a new column when they could just fix the one they have. There it is. Oh, that's a lot better. It's almost too better. I'll take that. Fires right up. Alright, lock plate goes back on. Oh, first we need to put our cancel cam on. There you are. Now, there's supposed to be a horn contact in there which is missing, so we're going to get a new turn signal switch and a new cancel cam. Brain's not working. And that will make this column great again. I left my lock ring on there, so all I got to do is push it back down, make sure it's engaged. Pressure on my lock ring and remove my tool. Done with that guy. So I took this bracket off the bottom to make it a little easier to work. Let's put it back together. Got to put our safety for the nut behind the wheel on here. Just in case. And no, the horn doesn't work because it doesn't have the components in it. But our column is fixed. That's progress. I clean up my tools, we'll pull this thing out, take it for a test drive. Thanks for coming along for the ride on this one. It's probably not real exciting, but I don't know if people knew that you could take these apart and fix them or not. It does require some specific tools. They're kind of expensive, but if you're doing it, and you do it a lot, you buy the tools and you have them in your bag of tricks so you can do it again. At any rate, click like, subscribe, leave us a comment below. You guys have a safe and happy day. See you on the next one. Collect all my tools. Yikes.